Gamers! Welcome to Three Gamers and a Noob. My name's Big Geech. You can find me on twitch.tv at GeechExotic. That's right. And we got some really good fellas over here. You know, we're all here to entertain you. We're going to talk about games on this podcast, all kinds of games. The guy I have down over here, some of my other hosts, is Windu the Mace.
What's up, guys? Welcome to our first official episode of what's the name that we're using again? Geech? Three Gamers and a Noob, right?
Three Gamers.
Hey man, you guys can tell it's the first episode, but we're excited because we're basically going to go over a lot of upcoming games while also try to show a little bit of love to smaller companies. But personally, I'm excited. You guys can find me anywhere under Windu the Mace, all socials. But I'm excited to get this episode going. Happy to be here.
Hey, Joker, tell these people a little bit about yourself.
First of all, I can't stop laughing. But anyways, what's up, everybody? My name is Jericho. I play games. We do a lot of little podcasts here and there. So I'm excited as this is our first ever episode. So let's see what we can bring to... Oh, fuck. I fucked it up. Fuck it. Never mind.
What do you mean bring to... All right. Go ahead.
Fuck it.
This man's confused. Keep it going, dude.
This man's always confused.
I lost my thought process, guy.
For our resident noob, Senor Caveman, how are you doing today, home?
I'm doing exquisite, my good sir. I'm the resident noob. My name is Caveman. I know nothing. I'm here to learn, and these are my teachers. So let's jump into the conversation, guys.
Yeah, and let's preface. You played video games before. It's not like you're 100% noob, right?
Noob.
Like you were playing FIFA a few minutes ago, but you're definitely not as hardcore. Yeah.
No,
For sure.
no, not at all.
He's a
Not at all.
casual gamer. He's a casual gamer.
Very
There we go.
casual. Very casual.
Still
Yes.
noob status. But hey,
Absolutely.
we're going to get on the topic, though. Windu, I got you. I got you. I got you.
Hey, steer the shit.
Me and the girls got you. We are going to sit here today. First off, I do want to start talking about Call of Duty. And the first thing I do want to mention is the graphics. I know, I hear you. Is the graphics. And Windu's going to pull up some of these graphics so we can show you how well they look right now. And guys, first we're going to talk about Call of Duty, everyone's favorite game. But one thing I do want to touch on is the amazing graphics that this game has detailed into it. So Windu, please tell me how much you really love these graphics.
Bro, I'll be honest with you. This year has been... It was a little weird for games, right? But here towards the end of the year, we have a lot of heavy-hitting games. We're going to talk about a few of them here today. For example, Gotham Knights God of War later, right? But I will say, this Call of Duty honestly did set the bar for graphics. Like cutscenes, facial expressions, even just like this scene that we're looking at here, just walking through a canyon, minding your business. Like that shit was super immersive. Like I would say that's probably the key word for this Call of Duty this year, immersive, because those graphics, the attention to detail, the shadows casting off the rock, look directly above his gun. You see the foliage, the little leaves and shit up there moving. That shit's wild. Like
Now,
that shit's super cool.
One thing I do want to touch on with the graphics though, guys, would you one thing I'm noticing is, and I don't know if this is actually the right word, is the textures that are in there. Like I'm looking at these stones and it actually, like, playing this looks like I am walking through a canyon in a desert. I mean, to me,
Definitely the attention to detail brings the physics. You know, everything is real tight. It makes it more realistic, more in depth, and immersive. You know.
I mean,
It's
Joker,
like a movie.
what are you seeing
Yeah.
about these graphics that you absolutely like are actually enjoying in the game?
I mean, to be honest with you, the whole environment setup within this graphics is on point, especially in the whole canyon scene, like the shadows, the way the shadows are falling, the lighting, and the whole, like, obviously first person shooters always the first point of view, and they nailed the head with the fucking point of view, right? Where, especially when you look at the rocks and the little sand textures that's going by, I'm like, yo, that's like they made this into a movie. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so fully focused into it. When I first played the campaign with my cousin, right, I was there like, yo, is this a movie? Is they like, no, this is a Call of Duty campaign. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, bro. This looks like a proper legit Netflix movie. You know what I mean?
Well, like the last few, in my honest opinion, have like Call of Duties have been good. Like the precision to the detail have been good the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
But just for this one, like you just seen in that last cut, like the last part of the video, he was zooming into the people, and it was like looked like you were actually looking through
The scope.
binoculars.
The binoculars and the scope. Yeah.
I mean, even look right here. You're running through. This is supposed to be like a camera on a rocket.
Missile.
Like a Predator missile or something.
Predator missile, yeah.
And look at, I mean, that right there, that just is rating in depth.
Bro, pause this over here real quick. Look at this scene right here. Like this scene, the whole setup, as soon as you see that explosion happens, they just instant camera switch up so that you can see the whole perspective.
Bro, it's honestly well thought out and quite frankly well directed. Like, because again, this is gameplay. You're playing, and then just in a flick of a scene, all you see is out of nowhere switching to like the cinematic explosion, and like you can almost feel like the realism behind it. Like, damn, that's probably how that shit would actually go down, even though a lot of us might never find out.
And I'm telling you, this character that they showed right here, Ghost. They hit the fucking nail on the head with that man, dude. I'm telling you.
But Ghost has been an icon for how many Call of Duties?
Oh yeah, true.
So worth bringing up to Josh. I don't know how into. Sorry, it's for Caveman. I don't know how into the Call of Duty world you dove into before in the past, as far as story wise and whatnot. But beforehand, this character Ghost that you see with the skull, a mask, and everything, he's been a pretty crucial character, but more of a supporting character, right?
Pause this right here.
This is one of the few moments that they actually make him almost like a main character to the entire scene, right? And they take time to develop his character, and we'll go into character development here a little bit later. But story-wise, they bring in enough. Yeah, like they bring in like plenty from the old school to where old school players will be like, yo, I know who the hell that is. That's awesome. But then at the same time, they bring in plenty of new so that the new audience can still feel like, hey, we're all learning this shit at the same time. You get me?
And that brings us to my next point, but I do want to touch on one thing when we're talking about attention to detail and graphics. They did a very, very good job on facial recognition.
You're talking about like
and realism,
expression.
Yeah, like facial expressions, the realism, like the face tracking and everything that they use.
Like, pause
it's amazing,
part.
bro.
Look at this. Pause this part.
You can see
look
it
at
here,
that.
but look at that. I mean, that's just him and his mask. But
no, I know. But just by even though he's got a mask on, just by his head movements and the eye, the way he's looking at it,
it looks great.
Yeah, but Jeej brings up a great point. Like this next part here.
This is where
like just in general, the graphics, the
look at that. The
realism behind people.
Where have you ever seen like the shirt in a video game?
The pen has a reflection, bro.
Move. Like, look at the shirt. The shirt is moving. Like, look at the facial. It looks like you're literally watching a movie. I mean, look at look at the glare off the iPad or whatever it is, the tablet. But this gets back to like the next topic that I do want to touch on. And it is getting back to the old roots. I know Windu touched on talking about Ghost and doing all the older characters that we did love and adding in, like sprinkling in these newer characters. And because I'm gonna tell you right now, Ghost is probably one of my favorite characters in the Call of Duty lines because he's always been a little mysterious. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. I'd love to ask you guys a question on that.
Mhm.
Do you guys think, for let's just say like a gaming company like Call of Duty,
Mhm.
do you think it's time just like, hey, come up with some new storyline, like completely brand new stuff? Or do you think it's better for them to be like, hey, why break something that isn't broken? Like, if we know this storyline works, let's just expand on that. Let's make the next Marvel movie instead of starting something brand new. You get what I'm saying with that analogy?
I just think that you have to stay relevant. You know, you have to go with what's going on, you know. And what I really liked about this edition is they brought in the cartels, you know, and that part of war, you know, because every time I've played Call of Duty, it's always been like a terrorist, or it's been Russians, or it's been the normal characters, you know, the normal bad guys, you know. So now they're introducing a whole new side of war, and it's relevant and it's fresh, and I think it's one of the biggest highlights of this game, of this edition.
To touch on that though, real quick, K-Man, when you talked about where they talk about like going into the cartels and stuff, it's a war that nobody ever really talks about. You see what I'm saying? To actually have
That's a good point. Because it's an even ongoing war that is going on, like the drug trade, cartels, this and that. And first of all, I think for them to even shine any light on that is bold as a company, right? Because that's something that the government themselves don't even want to. Hey, let's not talk too much about that. Let's focus on COVID or something.
So for me, like, I think the main thing about it is that realism of being on the streets, like, you know, running through, especially when you were playing the campaign, you know, when you Soap is running through the whole entire time, going from fucking trying to avoid the whole detection when Graves is hunting him down and everything like that. Bro, that realism and the immersion into that whole entire scene is like, yo, you're actually living through this person's thought process as he's going through, because let's just say he was just, you know, shut down, and then afterwards he's trying to escape at this point. And the whole entire realism into that fact is what like got me hooked. As they like, you know what? I can see him being like playing as a protagonist, as like a guy who's trying to escape from the enemy territory and keeping himself alive so that both him and Ghost can escape. Right? That was what got me hooked into the game. Like, because I saw that clip particularly when Windu was playing it on his stream. Right? And Windu was just like, yo, what is going on? I have to craft this shit. I have to try and survive running around. Like, if he gets caught instantly, he fucking gets shot. You know what I mean? It's like
even the scene that we're seeing right here, how what is this, basically they were transporting to a direction and they get shot down, right? Yep. So now they're infiltrating through these houses and stuff. Like, this is shit that real soldiers go through, bro. Like, a lot of people getting to play there still, and like that opens up a realization, you know? And I thoroughly enjoyed it, bro. And there was a lot of attention to detail too.
One thing I want to talk about right there, if you can rewind that back to where he breaks down the door. I've had friends like tell me, like when they were over in Afghanistan and Iraq, when they would do breach and clears, that's pretty much what it was like.
How authentic the situation is.
Yeah, because they're like, you could break down one door and clear the room and no one's there, or break down the room or break down the door and the guy that's behind, it's the first instant shot. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those, they're just in there cleaning the room and you're surprising the whole room. Like, this is a complete surprise. Like, boom, boom.
So fun fact about that, Jeech, is Infinity Ward, the company, right, who created the Modern Warfare series, they are well known to do their research and consult with actual professionals, and get story out of them and get the experience through their experiences. So like, and then afterwards putting it into the art board, right? So before they can even actually do everything. So Infinity Ward, the company, is very good when it comes to like projecting a story into an actual game situation kind of a thing, environment. And because they have this kind of a British mentality, because they are British. The company is British. They have that British mentality when it comes to like writing a book. If you read all the books, like most of the British authors, right, they actually link with what do you call it, the experience that they go through, and they jot it down. So they kind of did that, but in the more visual aspect of things rather than writing a book, if that makes sense. So
I mean, I hear you on that. And another thing I do want to touch on, where you talk about them actually
like citing sources and stuff.
like citing sources and going to find experts. I do want to touch on like just the detail on these guns are on point. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And not even just the detail on the guns. I watched a video on them, of their audio team. They have over like, I want to say 300 hours of just audio, okay, of what that grenade sounds like bouncing off a wall and exploding, what that shotgun actually, these are actual sounds that they took.
That's an awesome job to have.
The helicopters flying, and stuff like that. They actually like took over hours of finding this videos.
Well, art imitates life, and the best way to maximize yourselves is by connecting with your audience, and the best way to do that is relating and being as real as possible, So I think about like, especially right now, like Ukrainians, they're fighting the Russians. How many games, not only just Call of Duty, but other like Rainbow Six and shit like that, have you fought against Russians? Now look at the fucking world. It's art imitating what's going on. And now that they brought on the cartels, it's going to touch a different audience. How many narcos do you think are sitting there playing that game right now and playing out their real life?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's reaching a different level.
And like, not even that, just talking about this detail and gun and just detail on that. When he shot that shotgun at that door, it did what you would actually expect you shooting a shotgun at a door. You see what I'm saying? Like, it just wasn't like the imprint of it looking like there was an actual hole there. That actually shredded the door, which was just absolutely amazing.
It's super cool. I gotta say, like, as somebody, again, I've never been through those scenarios. Well, yeah, I was about to say, like, I'm an audio engineer by all means, but I personally, I'm sure many of us can relate that we've never been in these scenarios, right? Like, and we always, just take a little bit of time to thank soldiers that do go through that shit for us, for our country and whatnot.
Not even just for our countries, for all countries that serve their country proudly. Sure. I mean, again, we are, I didn't mention in the beginning we are an international podcast. So I do want to thank all military that keep their homes safe.
For sure.
That's for sure.
And at least going back to the, like, on the audio side too, the amount of immersion, even like this little scene that we're looking at here, everything from bullets grazing by your head, the specific sound that makes, everything from a bullet hitting a piece of metal off in the distance, like, everything is so well calculated in this game. It honestly, you can't help it. If you put on headphones and play this game, you can't help but feel like, oh my god, holy shit, this is I'm in war right now, like, oh my god, like, and I have to give them kudos for it, because the attention to detail when you go down that route of audio, mind-blowing. It literally sets their game apart. Dope. And then combine that with those amazing graphics that we talked about, bro, they definitely aim to hit this game out of the park in general, for sure.
Oh, and don't get me wrong, like I said, I haven't played the new Call of Duty yet, right? I've watched you play the whole entire campaign. I was just as merged of you watching you play the campaign as if I would have played it myself. just because of the fact of is I had the volume cranked up. You know, I was right there. It just literally felt like we were right in this bubble. But another thing I do want to touch on with this game is, on an average, how often do you think this campaign is replayable?
Multiple times. Multiple times.
I don't know, because I'm typically
I'm with you, G.
Yeah, I don't know, because I'm typically the guy that I'm like, hey, like, I watched Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness in theater. That shit was dope. I haven't seen that shit since.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You get me? Like that shit, I might go back to a movie or to a game campaign years after, because I'm like, God damn, I don't remember that campaign that much. I must have forgot. Let me go back and replay it, you know? But if I even have the faintest memory of it, I was like, yo, do I remember playing the campaign? Yes. Was it awesome? Mind blowing. Like 10 out of 10 quality. Like, I'm talking about, you would love it. You want to play it again tomorrow? Hell no, bro. I already did that shit.
I'm a different breed. I'm a different breed.
And let me know, Joker, because I mean, what I'm watching here is the only thing that I would do is, because when I play like the last few Call of Duties I played, I play on the hardest difficulty there is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that's not just to say I did it. It's because it makes it more real life. Like,
oh, yeah.
You can get two tapped. You know what I mean? Like, and by a sniper, you can get one tapped. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I play it. To me, only way it would play is like if I was streaming it, I'd play it on normal. And then like maybe on my own time, I'd go back through and probably play on hardcore just to get the achievements if I was like achievement hunter. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But other than that, like, I don't find like once you play Call of Duty campaigns once fully through, they're not really like re-immersive.
Can you do me a favor and crank up your volume a little bit, because you're a bit low on my side?
My volume?
Yeah.
Specifically, a little low on in general. Agreed. But I mean, here's the thing. Like, the replayability factor, I guess that really does come down to the person, right?
Yep.
But the chances of something being replayed, like at best, somebody might replay that campaign twice, maybe 3 times if they're a super fan, you know? But I don't know if the replayability of a campaign in general, like if that conversation would add value to the campaign, because it's like so immersive and stuff. Because I agree with Jeeds, like even if you play it again because you enjoy it, it's not the same experience as the first time, you know?
I play for the aesthetics, because this time, like for me, when I replay it, right? So I look for like extra little details, right, that I probably missed out on the first time me playing it. So this time I'll keep my eyes and ears peeled out for like other experiences that I can get hold of. But I can understand a lot of people, you know, they'll play max. Like I agree with Windu, they'll probably play like once or twice. Maybe you're a super fan 3 times. But me, I'm the kind of guy who loves to show off shit, right? So if homies come around and you tell me like, yo, they never played the Call of Duty campaign, like, bet, I'm going to put that shit on. Doesn't matter how many times I play it, I'll put that shit on just so they can enjoy it. That's understandable.
I'm just talking about you just chilling, replaying the campaign.
Yeah, on your own.
Like I said, I'll probably pay it because just to see that what I missed out, like certain little details that I probably missed out on, just to try and like nitpick and see if I can actually see certain things extra.
Right. I got a question. Let me phrase it to you in a realistic scenario. God of War just came out. Are you gonna replay this campaign and go play God of War?
God of War.
Exactly. Like that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like if the campaign is not worth it's not worth going back to over a brand new game, even if we had said another different game, right?
It don't matter. It don't matter though. You already bought the game. They don't give a fuck if you play that bitch.
That's again. What I'm saying. Like, yo, play it once, enjoy it, move on.
True. I agree.
Because there's always another one coming out. There's always going to be a new one. So people are always going to buy the next one.
I honestly, for me, instead of creating new shit, apart from the multiplayer aspect, right? If they want to have story modes, bring out DLCs, like extra little storylines, and just put it over there. Because at the minute, we're playing on a next gen console, right? And that longevity is going to last for a bit. And instead of doing like a yearly release, apart from doing the multiplayer, like I said, just bring out like small little campaign stories every now and so.
True. I do
And,
want to also give them credit
what am I-
on the marketing.
Mhm.
And sorry, Gigi was going to say something before me. You can go ahead and
No,
Talk
go
about-
ahead, because I got my next point I want to put up on that. So go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'll give them credit on the marketing because Caveman might not know this, but what they did is if you pre-ordered the game, you could play the entire campaign early. That was amazing marketing by them. People got to enjoy the campaign weeks before they could play multiplayer, and they could thoroughly enjoy the campaign, create videos on it, stream it to their audiences. Like it was
Without
honestly
trying to
it was so smart to give the campaign its own 2 weeks of, hey, the world, enjoy this. Look at how hard we
That's
worked.
cool.
Multiplayer.
It was amazing.
That's cool.
But see, now we were all, we just kind of touched a little bit on like the pricing thing of it. Now, this game typically runs at $60 for the game. All right. But for us on PC, it's $70.
Well,
just
on
for the
console
original
too.
game. Honestly,
On console too,
yeah.
because it used to be 60 throughout. That's a good point. It used to be 60 every single year. That $60 is like the standard for a new game, right? But now it's 70, which is like a new standard that's being developed. A lot of people were mad at that, to be real.
I mean, I'm a little mad at, like I emphasized to you guys the other night when you guys are like, yeah, we're playing Call of Duty. I'm like, you know, play. I'm like, I don't have it. You know, is it on sale yet? Like, to me, I just don't see spending $70 just to play a game. Now, to a point that I want to point on it is this campaign. All right, talking about price point. Is it because the attention to detail is raised up $10? Like I would pay $10 to play this campaign.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I mean,
But
I'll
this
be
is
honest with
badass
you.
though, bro.
I for the campaign alone, I'd pay a good $20-25 just to play that campaign by itself. You know what I'm saying?
I paid $30.
Yeah, I could stretch it to 30 for sure. Because it is a lot of attention to detail and it is incredibly immersive, like I said.
It's 6 hours of fun, right?
Yeah,
What it would
but
take
being said, imagine if you haven't played the campaign yet, you're still in pre-order mode. Would you still spend it? You get me? Because everybody could always buy the game on sale 4 months from now. It drops a couple bucks. You get the same experience for less, by all means. But I think like a big part of the marketing here too, and why they'll probably get the $70 is nobody wants to be that odd man out. You get me?
Yep.
Like if you got a whole squad of your boys and you're all like, bro, that campaign is amazing. Did you play it? Did you play it? Did you play it? I'm going to wait till it's on sale for like 40, 50. Now there's like a stigma that's being brought upon you by your boys or something, you know?
I'm straight. That's cool.
No, yeah,
I'll just play their shit. Fuck it.
Like not even like I said, I was able because you know in the environment that I'm in, and you know as a content like the small like minuscule like poquito
He said Piquito.
content creator that I am, I have friends that are you know a little bit bigger content creators that have played this campaign. Like I said, that I've watched the entire campaign. Me personally, I don't need to play the campaign. I was felt just as immersive watching this than playing.
That's a good fair point because they do kind of frame the entire story like a movie. So if you are watching, even just the way that we're watching right now, you can't help but sit here and watch and be like, oh shit,
I'm
is this man gonna
entertained.
die? Yeah, is this man gonna die? Like, what's happening right now? So
Shit's lit.
But so I do want to touch on this though now. If you were able to pay, you know, the $20 for the campaign, all right, and then drop, or you're able to pay $40 to get the multiplayer and that kind of stuff.
like
That'd
if you
be
could
something-
split purchase.
you can split purchase. Would that be something you would see Activision and all them doing that in the future?
I mean, I can
I'm
see
down with
it
that.
because they're already doing split downloads. So if you have the game, especially on a console, right, you can download multiplayer separately, you can download co-op separately, and you can download single player separately.
Yeah, like if you only want to enjoy one of those, like if you're not interested in the multiplayer, you only want to play the campaign, they give you that option. I don't know, honestly, they might make money if they do that, because imagine, and I could totally see a major company doing this shit. Imagine if it's like $70 for the whole thing, or they'll be like, yo, campaign for 30, multiplayer for 30, and then the other game mode for 20. So realistically, when you add it all up separately, it adds up to like more than 70, but if you buy the bundle, it's a little bit less. You get me? I could see them doing that. I wouldn't be mad. There's people that enjoy that, you know, like they only want to play the campaign or only want to play multiplayer.
I mean, like, the only reason why I would get this game is just to hop on and play the multiplayer with the boys, like a lot of people would. But another thing where we are touching on something like that is, how I want to put this is, I wouldn't mind seeing Activision actually just run a co-op mode for campaign.
They already have it
in the future.
in a sense.
They do?
Well, so their co-op mode that they have in the game right now is basically like individual, like 3 to 4, not part of the campaign, but independent missions that you get to do with your buddies, up to 4, like total of 4 players. So it's almost like side missions, but this time around, the co-op, they actually made them very campaign oriented. Like it feels like a continuation from the campaign. Like you play it, you got the cutscenes and everything. Like this lady that's on the screen, she shows up in the cutscenes. Like it's actually very well thought out. They really did deliver a full experience, and I personally think $70 is a steal, considering I paid $60 for worse Call of Duties.
Yes. Compared to buying Vanguard and compared to buying fucking Black Ops Cold War, I happily paid. I feel happy that I actually managed to spend only $70 for this game. Nothing more.
Bro, I got the premium edition for $100, and I think I got my money's worth.
What was the last one there before Cold War?
Black Ops.
Was it Modern? No. Was it Modern Warfare?
No.
There was Modern Warfare 2019. There was Cold War, Vanguard, and then now
this one. Okay.
Modern Warfare 2.
So I bought the 2019 Modern Warfare for $100. Okay, that was the last one I bought. I didn't have any interaction with Vanguard or Cold War.
Dog shit.
But see, not even that is, there's price. Is I've never really been big into the Black Ops Call of Duty editions, because the way they run their stuff, they do it
the last Black Ops that they actually was good for me specifically was Black Ops 2. After that, it was dog shit.
Hey man, what's the last Call of Duty you've played? I'm curious.
I remember there was a part in the mission where you were in like the International Space Station. I remember that, and then
my god, what was that? Was that Advanced Warfare?
Yeah, Advanced Warfare.
Dog shit. Dog shit.
I mean, I thought it was pretty cool, but I mean,
there was only
the experience for sure.
It was just they took too much notes from Titanfall at the time, and the whole space boots and the whole jetpack.
There was definitely a phase where in like from 2010 to 2015, it was in like spaceships and.
Let me pause you quickly. Look at this scene.
Yeah,
this water scene. Hey, yo,
water, right?
Go ahead, Jeej.
Well, this brings up my actual next topic. Is this is the first Modern Warfare that we were able to actually go into the water, and I'm not even just go into the water, without dying. If you remember, literally, anytime you ever went into the water, you died.
I agree.
Out of combat zone. Or whatever
was
the
out of
hell.
combat, or was that even in the multiplayer? It was
Yeah.
you died. Okay.
Yep.
Now they brought into this aspect of not just being able to go into the water and swim. We were able to go in the water now and have combat.
Yeah, like they have a multiplayer map where part of the map has underwater tunnels
Yep.
where you can go through an underwater tunnel and come up
Come
behind the
out.
enemy.
Yep.
But you can also run into an enemy underwater, and now you're
Kill
both having a shootout while still holding your breath. Like, and it's not like a normal, I'm gonna aim down sights. It's this whole like I'm fucking spraying underwater, panicking and everything. Like, it's honestly, I don't know. It's kind of, I kind of wonder why it hasn't been applied before. Like, even here, what we see on the screen, being able to, you know, incorporate water into a game, like a campaign, we've seen that plenty of times before in other games. The fact that that's new to Call of Duty is kind of wild.
Well, see, not just in a campaign, because I remember there was one campaign where you did start out in the water, and you had to go up to the edge, and you had to like silently kill somebody and drag them underneath. But that was it. Like that was the only water, like
a water to land transition.
Yeah.
All right. This right here, dude, he's literally swimming, trying to figure out where he wants
holding
to
the
go.
gun with one hand.
Yeah.
Okay, to me,
Amazing.
bro.
This
This adds a whole new, and this is not even just dipping back into the graphics. It's just a whole new world. Like, I mean, you
the
dive down with
bubbles
the
and
bubbles.
everything.
It's
Yeah.
a whole new world.
What the hell is this guy on about? Jesus. Somebody get this man some tea or something. What the
Give him
hell?
you give this man 30% and changes. But so now, if you touched on a little bit of water, I mean, it's blatant. We all love the new water. I mean, Caveman, you haven't touched on a Call of Duty in so long. What do you think about actually being able to play in the water of Call of Duty?
Dope. I mean, it takes you to a different element. You know, it makes it more. You're more immersed into the universe. You know, because that's something that a fucking Navy SEAL would do. They would jump in the water, right, to evade the enemy, or or to pull in
Marine.
somewhere. Yeah,
No
Marine. Like no hesitation. That's part of the scenery, and it's definitely something that you could use to your advantage. And I can't believe that this is the first time that you're able to use this element, in
Call of Duty.
your favor. Yeah, and not die. That's stupid. You know what I'm saying?
They had exoskeletons, so this is a new concept, bro.
Well,
Yeah.
Is it just me, or whenever I play a Call of Duty, I get reminiscence of as a kid? If you guys ever, I know you all played it, breaking out the Nintendo 64 or the GameCube and playing GoldenEye.
Oh, yeah.
All right, there's some nostalgia on that.
The Godfather of
that.
shooters, bro, for sure.
Yeah.
I
Alright.
have that.
How much, like, I would love to be able to get a modern day, I know it's going to go off topic, but a modern day James Bond with this type of gameplay.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, bro. Like, I would say this Call of Duty campaign is probably the closest we can get to that
Yeah.
so far. Like
So
the moments with stealth that they apply, moments with infiltration. Like they got some scenes where you have to pretend that you're part of the enemy team, so you got to play that shit cool as you're walking around and everything, with like a mask on and whatnot. Overall, man,
Great job.
I gotta say, this is amazing. Like the whole plot behind it and everything, the execution of this campaign is probably as close as you're gonna get to that so far.
As I'm sitting here looking at this and he's swimming, what are your actual thoughts on like the new movements that they've added into the Call of Duty itself?
Bro, that's such a big debate online, bro.
Yeah,
I'll tell you. So there's two types of people from what I've seen online. I'll give you my personal thoughts. My personal thoughts first is the fact that I don't mind everything being a little bit slower pace because it's a little bit more methodical, right? You have to be a little bit more conscientious about what choices you make instead of reacting to you making a good or bad choice, right? there's a lot of players out there that do not like that because they have very good reactions. You know, like there's some cracked Call of Duty players out there. By all means, there's some amazing talent. And it's one of those things that those individuals would rather be able to react as quick as possible, and they want to jump, bunny hop, they want to slide cancel, they want to cancel their reload mid animation and everything, and just get back to shooting. And by all means, I understand why there's a lot of people getting upset that the overall movement mechanics, and they try to go a little bit more realism and everything. But at the same time, I'm a very logical person. I'm gonna sit here and be like, I'm gonna sit here and be like, hey, you know how you just took that magazine out of your gun and you tried to shoot me? Guess what the game will do? Click, click. You never put the magazine back in. You have to click the button and finish putting the magazine back in. I love attention to detail like that. I think that separates this game a ton, and you know, in many ways from other Call of Duties. But again, there's people that complain. There's people that are upset that these mechanic changes have been made.
There's always a 50-50 chance that there's always going to be a grumpy side of gamers, and there's always going to be a pro gamers when it comes to certain things. And we just have to take it into consideration. Hey, man, just deal with it and fucking play the game. Because at the end of the day, you complaining and you moaning from both sides is not going to help the come to this point where they'll be like, you know what, we decided to take it, because if you decide to take this, the people who actually enjoyed it will be like, why the fuck did you remove this? Now it's just a fucking toxic shit.
Bro, I've heard people say, I'm sorry, I was gonna say, I've heard people legit go on Twitter and say, hey, if you think them making these movement changes or this reload change is okay, you're part of the problem. Like, goddamn, bro.
But see, now, Caveman, you can touch on this one with me. You know, as a big sports guy, kind of like I am, it goes around that same line of just pretty much people, like how Joker just put that, of saying how they tell like athletes just shut up and dribble. All right. It's people are entitled to their opinion on it, but at the same time, do you think it's good for the game to change out these mechanics?
I mean, I'm with Windu. I mean, it definitely adds a different element to the realism, you know, because pushing two buttons instead of one button in a critical second, you know, could cost you a game, you know, so would in real life, you know. So I think it's definitely, if you want to keep it as real as possible, it's a plus, you know. Now for the casual gamer, maybe it's an annoyance, you know, but you just got to tighten up your skills.
But the problem is, Gamer, these are the pro gamers complaining.
That's where I got in the line of. But that's where I got in the line of said where it sounds like the same thing of telling athletes to shut up and dribble. Or
no. So I'll give you a better example. Now imagine you play FIFA, right? I play FIFA.
Yes.
Right. So this year's mechanics, I can just press circle and shoot, and then use my analog to do curvings or whatnot. Right. But last year's FIFA, you just had to press a button to curve it and then press the shoot button. What would you feel about it? You know what I mean? It's one of those things.
Making it more complex versus simplistic.
Mm-hmm.
It honestly, it's good for the gamer, because then you're forced to learn a different technique instead of just pressing the same buttons and continuing the same process that you did from the previous game. You know, because all really, like a game like FIFA, the only thing that really changes are the fucking uniforms and the players that they include, you know, and a game like this. Right. And I mean, games like this, especially, you know, can be repetitive. You know, sometimes it could just be, it feels like that cut and paste, you know, especially after you're done with the campaign. Maybe a couple things change, the characters, the scenery changes. So what makes it different from the other games? What's going to make me go out and buy this game, you know? Because if they don't entice me, I could just go to Wendy's house and play it for free.
At the same time, but one other thing where I want to talk about into just attention to detail I do want to talk about the dialogue.
Mhm.
So, in some of these scenes, I mean, we haven't really seen it right yet, but I do want to touch on the fact of they have the Spanish speaking parts on point with actual Spanish Latino speaking community speaking on those parts, on actors, I should say. And I know Windows right here trying to search for a little bit of it, but just the dialogue in itself is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, bro. Honestly, as somebody Spanish, right? I don't. Every time I hear that there might be some Spanish in a game or something, I don't get my hopes up, right? Like typically,
It's cringy.
It ends up being like the Narcos TV show, right?
Mhm.
How they got Pablo Escobar to be played by somebody that doesn't even
Speak Spanish.
like most of the world will never know, but when you hear this guy speak Spanish, it sounds like he just learned it in Spanish class. You know, that sort of vibe. Like
He did a pretty good job, though.
He did.
He's different.
He did
though.
great. He did great acting, right? But I still think Call of Duty could have easily made that mistake. Like, it honestly feels like with the dialogue that was in here, it feels like they got a Spanish writer to come in and be like, hey, this is how we would say it in Spanish. Let's change the interaction. Let's change how these phrases go. It sounded so authentic and so natural. Like, I gotta applaud their execution, bro. That shit was dope.
Like, for me, it was great, right? Because I'm part Latino. I'm come from the Portuguese side of things. But yo, even being like part Portuguese and listening to the Spanish slang and phrases, I was there like, yo, they actually kind of nailed it. Because if you speak to a Latino in general, right, who speaks in broken English most of the time, and when they mix their English and their own language in between, they hit the nail on the head with this. Because one moment
Spanglish was on point.
Yeah, one moment they're speaking in English, next minute, bam, Spanish came in the way, and it all made sense. It all made sense. It's not like it's just like they just Google translated the fuck out of this. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Like, I feel like most games just Google translate that shit and have somebody read it, right? Mm-hmm. But this feels so properly executed. The Spanish parts, that shit felt like a TV novela from back home. I'm gonna be real with you. Like, it was good.
It's not even that the accents are well, that are good. It's the fact that they chose specific regional slang, to where the cartels would operate, in California, like, and in northern Mexico.
The dialects were on point, especially. Especially like there is a mixture of different Hispanic culture, right? You got the Mexicans and you got some of them, I think Puerto Rican too. I'm not sure.
No, because Colombian,
right? So yeah, you could easily see the distinct like between their dialects between each other. So
because there's so many different types of Spanish in the world.
That's true. So
that's
true. And I gotta say, as a Puerto Rican, I fully understand that this was mostly Mexican in this game, but I feel like they did Spanish people justice with this game in general, right? Like, quite frankly, they showed a lot of the ugly parts that are going down in Mexico, which definitely need to be shed light on by all means, right? Like the cartel and everything. But they also showed like one of the main people in the story that's Hispanic, that he's Mexican. Like, yo, that man's all about his pride. Nothing. There's nothing you can. Alejandro, bro. There's nothing you can do to that man to compromise that pride that he has and his integrity throughout the story.
Spanish pride came out big and strong, bro.
Like, I saw that, I was like, that's a Hispanic right there, bro. That's a true one.
That's a Spanish pride, bro.
One thing I wanted to mind see, in this game, is one of the biggest. I want to talk about like Latino pride you want to talk about Mexican pride and all that, is actually having Danny Trejo in the game. Would have been perfect. That's him actually playing as a
thing
cartel
though.
boss.
So that's the thing though. Like when you take a big actor like that, and then afterwards all these little voice actors just play in their parts, their limelight's been taken away and focused on that main character.
I don't think so. At the same time, because it's not that you're putting a massive character in. Because here's the thing: there's no one that speaks into Latino pride, Mexican pride more than Danny Trejo.
I don't know. I
don't know about that.
I feel like Machete is the perfect stereotype for Hispanics.
It's very stereotypical. The movies that he plays is very stereotypical.
Machete.
So, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure, Caveman, you can tell more because you're Mexican, homie. You can explain more this shit.
Yeah, man. No, I mean it's it definitely fills me with pride that this is being brought to the attention of the public. Because we all know that you don't go down to Mexico. It's dangerous down there, but people don't know that this is going on in their backyards. Like in this scene here, they're in Texas, they're not in Mexico, they're in Texas. The cartel is right next door. And it fills me with pride that they took the time to really represent my people and the good side of the people that are trying to stop this. It really takes things to another level for me, personally, because
they're not taking the bad negative shit and publicizing it. They're just showing the good things that comes from these people, certain people as well. So
yeah, like
with that in mind,
is going on,
So with that in mind, everything you just said, do you think other Hispanics could give this game a try if they haven't already, or if they're on the fence about it? Because honestly, I would tell people, hey man,
try it.
It don't matter if you're Puerto Rican. Play that shit. You're gonna like it, bro.
Yeah,
you're gonna get a kick out of it. Legit.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
It's for sure. Like I had a similar feeling, even though my Portuguese side comes from Portugal. But we know when you played Max Payne and you're in the favelas in Brazil and doing all that shit, bro, I felt somewhat like, this doesn't matter if I come from Portugal, but they represented certain things in Brazil in a correct way in certain things, right? And I was just like, give it a try, play it, enjoy it, give it a shot. Don't just discredit it because it represents not your culture, but just try it. Because at the end of the day, doesn't matter if you're Portuguese, doesn't matter if you're Spanish or whatever it is, it just hits that Latino pride strong head on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So guys, so in all, we've kind of tore this game right apart. I mean, this is a great game. To me, it's a 10 out of 10. I mean, we haven't seen any of the multiplayer, and to be honest with you, I don't need to. This campaign just blew my mind right away. So I give it a 10 out of 10. Joker, if you were to rank this, what would you give this?
I would honestly give it. I wish I could give it more, but a 10 out of 10 is this one thing. I wish I could give it a bit more than 10, but 10.5. 10.5 out of 10.
Windu, if you were to rank this, what would you give this game?
Actually, I'm gonna adjust something and actually say a 9, to be honest with you, because even though based off of my experience I would go straight into a 10, I really think that on the marketing side they could have probably hit a little bit harder as far as the Spanish interaction to the game and how much Spanish influence there is in the game. And we all know that out of the top 5 speaking languages throughout the world, English and Spanish are literally up there. I want to say top 3. I think it goes English, Mandarin, and then Spanish. So they could have hit a harder demographic, gotten more sales, and it's already the best performing Call of Duty ever in sales. But they could have hit that even harder, because I would have pre-ordered even sooner than what I did if I knew that there was this much Spanish representation in the story, because it really does make me proud.
If they had trailers for like different demographics, you mean like English, then a Spanish fucking trailer just to introduce all the Spanish community and everything like that.
Even just trailers showing more about the cartel involvement. You don't have to be Spanish to understand that. Like, you hear cartel, bro. When have you ever heard about the cartel? What one other word gets put next to cartel typically? You get me? And typically it's like, yo, like Mexican cartel. You're like, okay, that sounds like it'll be spicy. I want to play that. You get me? Like, I wish I would have heard more about that instead of having to wait until the gameplay.
I definitely understand, and I'm with you, because it was released at the end of Hispanic Heritage Month, and you could have definitely harped on, us Latinos were always trying to fight, to bring normalcy to our countries. We don't want to have to immigrate to the United States. We want to stay home, but bullshit like this is going on, So in a way, you could, in a sense, in your head, fight against the cartel for a little bit, and they could have harped on that and sold a shit ton more, But I mean, either way, man, it's a great game. Word's gonna get out. Maybe initially they don't get the hits that they would have got. If they would have hit the Hispanic market, but it'll happen either way, man. It's a great game. I mean, you're playing a movie. That's basically what it is, bro. It's a beautiful game, and it's a great plot, and I think people are, like you said, you spent $100 on it. You said it was worth it, So I'm pretty sure people will pick up on that,
Yeah. So if you just watching, like just bits and pieces like you did, what would you be your rank on this game? Okay, man.
Dude, I mean, I haven't seen everything, like I just seen bits and pieces, but from what I saw, I definitely want to give it a 9. I'm not big on giving it a 10 because there could always be room for improvement, but that's just the dick in me, but it's up there, man. I think it's a wonderful game, and I'm down to play it. Come over to Windows.
So,
got you, bro.
All I'm saying is, bro, next time when they create a Call of Duty fucking campaign and have all of this crew, bro, they better bring it under the Caribbean side of things. That's all I'm saying. Yo, Caribbean side is an infestation for corruption. You know what I mean? So
not even that,
the pirates and everything. That's a spicy point,
Jeez,
bro.
What about you? What is your
what would you rate
this game?
Me, without playing this game, I said it a little bit ago, I would give it a 10 out of 10. But just for me not playing it, and just seeing what I've seen, like I said, I've watched Windu play the multiplayer. I've watched the campaign. In all honesty, I do give it probably a 9.5 to a 10. Only reason why I would give it a 9.5 is because of the price range. I don't see myself spending $70 on a game. That's just me. It's fun and all, but if they would finally come out with the fact of you can just buy the multiplayer, I would do it. All right, I'd spend $40 on a multiplayer. But before we do head off of Call of Duty, guys, any final thoughts that you guys want to give about this?
I just want to say I highly recommend it. Anybody watching, anybody doubtful, anybody that thinks that this is a Call of Duty that they're just not going to play, I can tell you that the campaign alone is worth it. And if you happen to enjoy a little bit more after that, multiplayer or whatever, you're just getting the best of all worlds.
All right, guys, before we do say our goodbyes for our first ever gaming channel with 3 gamers and a noob, I do want to give a shout out to a little indie company that we're going to do off of every podcast that we do have. And Windu, I'm not too sure of who the actual company is.
So it's Vaki Games, a VAKI, Vaki Games.
Okay,
and,
rewind this. We can. I thought I said I forgot who is Vaki.
Yeah, Vaki.
Here, write it in the document, bro. What are you doing?
Yeah. Sorry.
I'll just do it.
Okay.
I know what I'm talking about. There we go. I got you. Okay. Go ahead.
Yep. Start it.
All right, guys. Before we do head out of there, I do want to touch on a point. We are going to talk about indie games on every podcast. And I do want to give a shout out to Vaki Games for making an actual really nice game called King's Hunt. I've had a ball playing it. I've played all the early access. I played all the betas. To me, this game it's classified as a MOBA, but it plays like a team deathmatch / domination to an extent. Windu, I know you've played a bunch of this game, just the same as Joker.
Mm-hmm.
What are your actual thoughts on this game?
I'll say this: the game shows a lot of potential. A little rough around the edges. They're still early access, so they're still in development as they go through. So they welcome all feedback and whatnot. But the complexity of the game, the style of the gameplay, like Gij was mentioning, it's a twist on the MOBA genre. It's kind of like MOBA and domination at the same time. So it's pretty interesting. Like it's nice to play something new. It's just one of those things that you got to be mindful that you're going into an unfinished product when you go play it, by all means. But I recommend it to everybody. They officially started their free-to-play release yesterday, actually, November 3rd, 2022. They just started their free-to-play release, so everybody on PC can go download this game and try it out, have a blast. If anything, leave down in the comments what you guys thought about it if you tried it.
For me, the game is... Like, again, there are certain points I agree with Windu. It has a lot of potential. The fact is that you can play with your homies is a top side bonus to me. And also the games don't last long as much because there is variable options to finish the game early, depending on how you play the game. Although I gotta say, it is, again, a very, very early. I mean, when I say very, I'm emphasizing very. It's a very early access game. There are some problems here and there that you might run into. So don't be disheartened by it. I would say give it a shot. Have fun. Learn the game a little bit more. The more you play it, the better it is for you. And yeah, man. Definitely, if you're more than willing to support the team, go ahead and do so. You can download it on Steam for free. So we will leave the link in the description, so you can go ahead and check them out.
Yes, for sure. Please, if you do like those mobile styles, please go ahead and give the game a little bit of a try. Now, Caveman, I do got to ask you on this. From watching all that gameplay of Call of Duty, going to this, what kind of a shock is that to you?
I wonder what the fuck's going on. I see a little Robin Hood character walking around the map shooting shit, and it looks kind of cool. So I'm down to try it. Like, it doesn't, all games don't have to be the same, like this looks like fun, and you can play with your homies. So I'm down. I
ask you that because I'm looking at graphics standpoint. All right. The graphics aren't really the best, but they're really not that bad.
They don't have to be the best. This is not a realistic world. You know what I'm saying?
True. But it's for an indie company. I mean, again, I'm going to touch on, I look at the bricks, right? They've done a really good job building their world.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Worth mentioning real quick, for those of you that don't know, an indie company means that they created the game and they're also publishing the game. Mm-hmm. Like, there isn't any big company like EA or something like that backing them up. It's like, hey, we're trying to make this work. We're a small studio. We're still kind of going through it. All the help that we can get. Like, for example, even going in there and buying a character or buying anything monetarily helps the production of the game. That's how they are funded. They don't have, big brother, major company, Activision or something behind them in order to...
And let me just say that the team is so small that they just a group of homies just running it in Finland, and they're just producing this game. So whatever money you put into this, they're gonna put it back into the game. You never know. It might, if it goes off really well, it could be another game in the genre, in MOBA genre or whatever it is, that could hit it off really big, and you might have ton of fun playing it. You know what I mean?
I actually don't even classify it really in the MOBA genre. I classify it in a hybrid.
I mean, I
hybrid
class it as a MOBA genre because it's a more multiplayer online battle arena, right? And that's what you're doing at the minute. So that's why I say it as a MOBA.
I think the fact that it's so different, and from what Caveman just mentioned a second ago, the fact that it's, you look at it and you don't really know what's going on if you're just an average gamer, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is a big feedback that if the company does watch this, they need to take that back, because, for example, Caveman is the main demographic. Somebody that's like, yo, I don't know what this is, but I'll try it out.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't know what it is after watching it after a few minutes, that's a little rough. So just a little bit of feedback on, not to go too into it. We're not trying to break this game down. Just trying to give a shout out to indie companies, so to speak.
And, we're giving the shout out to the indie company. I do want to just give a shout out to the devs. They do stream on Twitch. The whole time that they were doing the beta testing, they streamed, they played with the community. You could randomly end up on their team. They always left an open slot. It is a five-man game, so they always left an open slot. You play against them. Like I said, they engage. Their Discord is very, very active. Even their community, I don't want to call them their community managers, because there is the one now, which I'll touch to on that in a second. But their dev team is very active inside their Discord. And I do want to give a shout out to one of the homies that most of us do know, is Ryan Red. For getting added to the team for this game. I do wish him complete luck in the endeavors with this game. To me, it looks like it's a game that will last if it gets the attention that it deserves.
Yeah, it has promise, but it needs a lot of work, and for that work to be done, it needs a lot of support.
Yes. So please, we'll leave the description. We'll leave the link in the description. We'll leave their Discord in the description. Go in, give them a shout out, let them know you came from Three Gamers and a Noob, and tell them, hey, I'm here to try out this game. Go ahead and just try it out. I mean, what does it hurt to add a couple of GBs to your RAM? You don't like it, you can delete it. All right. So guys, I do want to thank everybody again for coming in here, hanging out with all of us. Do you guys have any closing statements, any closing ideas for anything?
No, just thank you for everybody watching. Thank you for everybody that is here supporting. If you made it this far, you're the GOAT, quite frankly, because, and these are probably going to be like about an hour long, and we are going to include, the little indie game shout out, different company at the end of every video. But if you guys did thoroughly enjoy it, if you have feedback, if you want to share your experiences, if you just want to let us know, like, hey, what game should we talk about next? Let us know down below, the whole shebang. And we really do appreciate everybody.
I do want to give a really quick, and I said the first one, I do want to give a shout out to ourselves. You do like our content. Please go follow us on the other YouTube channel at Three Guys and a Brit. That one's a more of a current events kind of style that we do. You can let us know real life. You can let us know there what you really want us to talk about. Also here, since we do support small indie developers and indie games, in the comments, guys, let us know if there's an indie company that you would like us to give a shout out to. Because like I said, we fully support everyone trying to do this gaming world, because it is hard.
On that note, Much love to y'all. Peace.
Peace. Don't
And
forget
catch
to
you
wipe.
next time.
Much love, homies. Peace.
Peace.